What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast. I am your host. My name is Chad Medved, and welcome to my podcast. If you're new to the show, I do something, I was going to say it's a little different, but I guess a lot of people kind of do the same shit that I do. But I talk to interesting people about what they do and how they got to that point in life. And if you're new to the show, I've talked to a lot of cool people in the past. After you're done listening to this week's episode, jump back into the archives and see some of the people that I've talked to. I have some favorite episodes. My episode with Sarah McAlley was episode, I believe, 23. She is a funeral director. I have an episode with Mikey and Big Bob. You obviously know who they are. I have an episode with Rick Seebeck. I have an episode with, a lot of cool people. UFC fighter Kama Worthy. You name it. They're coming. All the good ones are coming. But, I do this podcast every week. It costs no money to you, and I do this shit for free. The only thing that I ask you guys to do to support my podcast is to take a second and rate and review and subscribe to any of the podcast pages. It is a huge help for me. You could find me on Instagram at I'll Call You Right Back, or you could find me on every other social media, and you could just search I'll Call You Right Back podcast. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, they have a reviewing option on there, so you could scroll down on that podcast app and click the subscribe button if you haven't. Give me a 5-star review and give me a couple words that you like about the podcast, and that would be a huge help to me. And I just want to say thanks in advance for anyone who takes the time to do it. It takes 2 minutes, and like I said, it's a big help for me. But anyway, I also want to take a second to thank Turner Dairy Farms, who are the creators of Turner's Premium Iced Tea, which is the greatest drink ever created next to water. And I just wanted to tell you guys that, time is almost up. With the Turner Dairy limited edition Oakmont Bakery flavored Oakmonter milk. That's a tongue twister right there. But Turner Dairy Farms and Oakmont Bakery teamed up to provide you with one of the most delicious flavored milks of all time. It's Oakmonter flavored milk, and I have a half gallon in my in my fridge right now, and it's pretty damn good. I must say so myself. I have to be transparent though. It's not my favorite. My favorite is still the birthday cake, but this is up there, probably top 3, I'd think. But shout out to Turner Dairy Farms out there, just, killing it as always. A couple other things I wanted to talk about before we get to business this week. I got a new puppy, and let me tell you one thing, man, it's stressful, but it is, I don't know. I am looking at this dog like she is, I know kids are different than animals, but I don't have a kid, so, screw you. This is how I equate it. But it's like I watch everything she does, and I see all these little changes, these minute changes, and I can notice everything. And before, people had kids, and I'm like, God, post another fucking picture of your kid with the same angle, yeah, I don't want to see it. But, I got to take a step back from that type of mentality because, I have probably 600 pictures of her on my phone already, my puppy Nadja. And she, I'm a puppy dad, and I can't, my heart's full. My heart's full in this moment. And she is just a funny dog. And it makes me think, for her to, be able to get up and go outside and pee outside and then come back in, you could see her personality. It's like, it would blow my fucking mind if I was a parent of a human being and then I saw this little human being, come out of a woman and then within a year or however long it is, start to say words. It's insane to me. But it's also insane to me to think that dogs came from wolves. You know what I mean? They're domesticated wild animals, which is an oxymoron, but, screw it. But done talking your ear off. I have a very special guest this week. Kel on Air is on 100.7, and she is one of the best radio show hosts in the city. She's on from 2 to 7 on 100.7, or you can go to radio.com and listen to it, and you could check out her work. But Kel is, I never met her before. I became a follower of hers on social media, and if you follow her on social media at KELONAIR, you immediately understand what I'm talking about. She makes you feel like, like I felt like I know her. Just from her interaction on social media. She posts a lot of pictures of her husband and her daughter, and like they just have a really cute family. It's a cute family. She has a great personality. Me and my wife love listening to her and like watching all of her videos. And I wanted to have her on the podcast because, I've talked to a few radio show hosts in the past, but I never talked to a radio show host during a pandemic. And I really thought that was an interesting aspect of it. Can't even talk right now. That's how much sleep I've been getting with a puppy. None. But Kelly is, she's been a radio show host for some time now, and she's pretty damn good at it. And it's interesting to sit down with her and talk to her about, what life was like pre-COVID, going into the studio, rubbing elbows, water cooler talk, brushing up on the gossip, and then what her life is like post-COVID. Because if you think about it, if you're listening to the radio, all these people are doing this shit from home. And that's pretty crazy to think about because, if you're a radio show host, you have to be conscious of, music. You got to be conscious of, the different time frames that you're in. You got to be conscious of the extra sound that's coming through your microphone. And, she has a kid, and you got to think of the other radio show hosts that, have things that they have to deal with, have a kid, have pets, have all this, have these other factors that they have to adapt to. And it was a really great conversation. I love sitting down and talking with her. She's a great person, real fun to talk to, and it's just a really, really good interview. So without further ado, episode 150, 150 episodes. Episode 150 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Kel on Air.
I gotta use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast. I definitely try to be professional, but it's not it's a work in progress. It'll be better once I have I just want to do all this shit with the walls.
Sure.
And like, it's just like kind of generic now, but it's a work in progress. We're trying to get the rest of this shit done around the house.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the basement's always the last. I just made a studio for myself, and I've been home for 11 months.
Yeah, so like I'm sure that that is an experience being home from work. Like I feel like I've talked to like other radio show hosts, but I've never talked to anyone who has had to deal with like the world of a pandemic and like having to work from home. It's
been a lot. It's been very eye-opening to say the least.
Yeah,
our jobs were not meant to be from home.
Plus, you have a kid, so it's like that's a whole nother factor in the equation that I'm sure is something that's just like real interesting.
Yeah.
What how long have you even been doing this?
I've been in radio now for about 10 years. I've been at Star for almost 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is this something that you wanted to do your whole life?
Yes, it is.
Yeah?
It is.
You were into radio?
Well, I mean, let's be honest, no one's ever like, I want to be on the radio. I feel like I talked a lot.
Yeah.
And then I knew that eventually I had to get paid for it because it was like really my only strong
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I wonder how someone can get like into wanting to be on the radio because like whenever you're a kid, you're like, I feel like that's not like something that's like told to you like, oh, you can be a radio show
Sure.
host. And you're just like, I wonder how that like kind of navigates into there, because, I've talked to like Mikey and Bob, and like,
Yeah.
I hear their story, and I know that you probably have a completely different story. And it's interesting to hear that that's what you wanted to do from the beginning.
Yeah, it is.
It's, so, I mean, like growing up, what are you like growing up?
Growing up, I was student body president.
Really?
I was president of student council. I was heavily involved. I was the chatty Kathy, the one who was like in trouble constantly for socializing.
Yeah.
And, it was just kind of who I was.
Were you a good student?
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think I was anything to write home about.
Yeah.
I was kind of a mediocre. I was there to.
Yeah,
have
you're
friends.
just passing time. Yeah, that's
That's it.
I didn't dislike high school at all.
No, me neither.
I
had a great
definitely,
time.
but I talked to my wife, and like my wife is like, yeah, I didn't care for high school at all, and it's like such a weird thought, because
Especially to spend 4 years there.
yeah, and especially it's like, I mean, I feel like we're similar in the way that like I can talk to whoever,
Sure.
and for as long as someone wants to listen to me bullshit to them, like I could talk to whoever, and you seem to be very talkative. She's talkative to people, but it's weird for me to think about like high school, me not being like, buzzing around to
Sure.
everyone. Cause like I'm friends with a bunch of different like cliques of people.
Same.
And I don't know. This is like obviously why I do the podcast. Like I like to hear myself talk.
Hell yeah. So do I. Obviously, I did.
I mean, so I want to know like what a day in your life is like normally whenever it's not pandemic, like whenever
Okay.
you're going into work, like what's that like?
Oh God, I miss it so much. The fond years of us having, an office to go
that
to.
you could like leave and because we took advantage. I mean, I've been away from work. I mean, I've been in my office working.
Sure.
There's only a couple people, but she's been like locked in a house since March. So she's like turning into like The Shining. Like
I feel that.
Yeah, she wants to go out.
Yeah, well, hell yeah. I would say on a regular day, I would get to work around 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Shoot the shit with my coworkers literally until 1.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I did spend so much time socializing until I was taken away from it, and I was like, wow, I can work way more efficiently when there's no one around, but it sucks.
Yeah, it
like
does
I
suck.
would. I also work in an industry where we vibe.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like other people's energy. I'm a huge empath. Like the minute I would walk into work and I would see. I worked with the fan guys. I worked with our country station Y108. I had news radio 1020 KDKA. So there was every single facet of person in our building. We had the country, the cowboys, and then we had the sports guys. And I had everyone I ever needed for whatever I needed. It was just such a wealth of information.
Yeah.
And they would come to me when like their wives hated them and they needed advice from me. So there was very much like it was a beautiful vibe. But I would go in and show prep. Talk a lot to sales. We do a lot of partnerships with brands and stuff. Now I'm doing a lot of stuff freelance because we aren't at the station, but those relationships that we have with the station are obviously still happening.
Yeah.
And then do all my show prep. Again, kind of feed off of everyone else's energy, see where I wanted to take the show. And I mean, I go in at 2:00, crack the mic, and I'm in there by myself making magic until 7.
Yeah, so you're by yourself, and I think that's like that would be something that I would have to do. Like I feel like that I don't know if it's me being stubborn, but I feel like I couldn't have like a counterpart. Like
Sure.
I feel like I work better just talking. Like I can do an episode of just an hour of me talking, and it's terrible. Like I just
No, it's not. That means you're in the right place. You're
I
doing the right thing.
Talk too much, but it's like it's interesting because you don't have anyone to like fall back on
No.
if you're having a shitty day or like you gotta put on that face. So like that's an interesting aspect of
Well,
it
it
all.
was. It didn't. My career didn't start that way.
Yeah.
I had a host,
Really?
and he was let go like 2.5 years into my tenure
Yeah.
at Star. And then I was told with about a couple hours notice that I was going on air solo, and I had never been behind.
You were worried about that?
100%.
Yeah.
Not for my own ability, but for the technical side of radio.
Yeah.
Because there are huge boards, and I usually have a board with 150 buttons on it and 4 different screens and a phone line system and an editing system, and there's a ton of equipment that goes into making what you hear.
Yeah, I bet.
Every single little sound is manufactured. So to do that all by yourself while still remaining true to yourself, while still being funny, while still being quick and in and
Yeah.
out, and remembering that I am in music radio and people come for the music, hopefully stay for me.
Absolutely.
But, a lot of the times if they don't know who I am or they're not there to just fangirl over my voice, which is no one that listens to radio. They come for Billie Eilish or, DaBaby, and then they stay for the in-between.
Who doesn't like DaBaby, right?
I mean, let's be honest.
So, I mean, whenever you go to school for this, like in college, like did you go for broadcasting?
Yeah, I have a telecommunications major, BA at Penn State.
Okay, so like obviously, are they teaching you how to you learn how to
the broad,
very
the broad
broad
spectrum? Like I said, I wasn't like a straight A student, but I was good enough to get into Penn State. So whenever I looked at my focus, I was like, I want to be in media. I knew that's what I wanted to do. And then after a couple courses, I realized that they put the adults in TV.
Yeah.
And that's where they put the people who are responsible enough to get up and do their hair and makeup and be there at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then they put the jagoffs on the radio. And I was like, that seems like so much more fun.
Yeah.
Now, since I've gotten a couple opportunities to delve into small little TV work, I appreciate them and I love what they do.
Yeah.
But I have to say, the fun, spontaneous part of this side of the media has always been where my heart lay. It's just who I am.
Yeah. I mean, that would make more sense. I mean, everything would have to be so regimented when you're doing video and all that stuff.
Right.
It's just a lot more factors that you got to deal with.
100, and we're more fly by the seat whenever you live by audio. And you can take this interview and take little bits out and splice what you want, or this audio, but you can't do that with video.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't make sense. So
Absolutely.
I prefer just to, kind of wing it.
Now you're in school and you're getting ready to graduate. What's your plan of action? You're immediately, I want to try to get on the radio.
Well, I had an internship on a morning show, and that's where you'll hear a ton of radio people. That's where their journey started, was with an internship, unpaid, and working for just the exposure to the industry and whatnot.
Now, are you doing for an internship? Are you doing just production type stuff, or are you actually?
Oh no,
on the radio?
I was a co-host producer on a morning show up in State College at Penn State for an actual radio station. Every time I say that, and that's not to lessen the work of college radio stations, but there was no affiliation. I went to the local radio station, pop station, top 40, and was just I want to be here. So I got a job there doing an internship for a year. They kept me on, paying me pennies or whatever was the half legal wage to keep me there for my senior year.
Yeah.
And then as I was about to graduate, they were like, would you consider staying? I was like, sure, but they couldn't pay me as a morning show co-host because it was such a small market. They were like, we can't just bring you on full-time for that. So I was selling for them. So I would get up at 4 a.m., go produce the morning show, do it until 10 a.m., go home to my apartment that was right across the street, change into slacks and a sweater, and I was salesperson Kelly from 11 to 5.
Really?
And I kind of saw both sides of that, and I did that for about a year, and then I was like, I'm sick of farm country. I'm from a city. I need to get back to the city. I worked at an advertising agency for a short amount of time just to come back here with incredible. There was 3 employees there when I was there, and now it's one of the biggest in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's called 321 Blank, and it's a fantastic marketing firm. And 9 months into my tenure there, one of my old interns, Alista, who's now my APDMD, who's now my manager, my assistant program director and music director, was like, there's an opening for a female spot on our afternoon show, and I really want you to apply. I was like, no way. I have no experience in the market. I did 3 months of auditioning. I got the show 2.5 years later. It was my show.
What is auditioning? So whenever she approaches you and says that there's this position, is it what do you call it? A top 40 position? Or?
Yeah. I mean, it was a co-host position. They wanted a female lead on an afternoon drive show.
But it was focused around music.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So now, and you've always been someone who is a fan of music. I know
Always.
there's other lanes, but music was what you kind of wanted to get 100%. Into.
100%. I love music to probably a sickening degree.
Yeah.
I love music so much so that I research the crap out of music. It's probably an unhealthy obsession, but I dig the production of music. I dig where these artists are coming from, the lyrics that they write, where they're recording it, how the charts work.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's such a science behind music, especially radio, because in radio, everything you hear is spinning for a certain amount of time because of research that we're given, and we compare all those numbers to each other, and it's a sick math.
It is. Awesome. It's pretty crazy. Now, I feel like I would be more into a talk,
Sure.
a talk show, obviously, but I feel like that the music would be fun because you got all these different like vibes. You got all these people that like, you know, I feel people would be more open to like engaging. You would have like a bigger audience.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, you have people like Mark Madden who have like an audience and he has a talk show, but a music show, you got all different types of people like getting in there and like, I mean, you saw that from the beginning, like you had engagement with audience members and stuff like that from the beginning.
I did. And like I said, they come for the music and they stay for us. So, well, we like to think so. But there's a difference in radio that we always say from a show from a shift.
Yeah.
And you'll know it just knowing that jargon now. A show is the segments, the calls, everything like that.
Yeah.
A shift is... Here's the weather in Pittsburgh, you know, just quick in and out. Exactly. You're just there to kind of fill in breaks and make sure that it's just not music on music.
Yeah, yeah.
So I very much was just like, oh, I don't want to do that because I don't want to just, you know,
just do
cash
the
it
bare
in
minimum.
every day.
Yeah.
But I also do have to appreciate that there are people there for the music. So it's just kind of, it's a quicker way of radio talk. I am enamored by the same way I am podcasting because I don't think that a lot of people, when podcasts came out in my radio career, when they started forming, people were like, oh no, that is the competition to radio. But also they thought that Napster and Spotify and all those things were competition to radio.
Do you think that podcasting has taken away from
Not
radio
even
listeners?
a little, because I think people go to the mediums for two very different things.
Yeah.
And because I know I do.
Yeah.
I am the audience for both as well.
Yeah.
I think that podcasting is a healthy next step from radio, but I don't necessarily think it's a step above. I think it's a unilateral step.
Yeah, they're apples and oranges for sure. I mean, people want to listen to music, they're going to go towards the radio. Yep. I was never someone who would listen to like, you know, the top. So I listen to the same shit that I listened to in high school. I'll put on the same CDs and like, it's terrible because I don't know of like new stuff. I get exposed to new stuff through, you know, other people and seeing it on stories on Instagram.
Sure.
But I'm a podcast listener. Like I listen to podcasts all day and that's how, I don't know. I just like consuming that way because you could cater it more to what you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like people like the murder porn stuff. There's podcasts
Including
about
myself.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like listening to all that terrible shit? But it's interesting to think that there's people that, you know, like both, they're going to go to two different places. Now, do you see any like statistics that it's like completely like the same? Do you guys have conversations like that?
Well, I have conversations for myself in my own brand.
Yeah.
I love joining podcasts because I think that it's a separate channel for radio people to get to talk more long form.
For sure.
And I think it's, like I said...
That's a good point, though, because people don't really have like a long form of, you know, who you are. You know, you
little from what they get from social media.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's
And
not
you're
like I
very-
sit down and I'm like, all right, guys, my life.
Well, I feel
January
like-
23rd, you know what I mean?
I feel like you could kind of get a grip of who you are from social media. You're very active on social media.
Yes.
I feel like I know who you are already just because of following you. I feel like I know of your husband, your kid. You know what I mean?
You do. You know everything you need to know.
Well, it's and I think it's good because like you seem like a fun person and it seems like authentic, but it's also like carries over into your job. Like, you know, people are dragging their ass into like work, coming home from work, and it's like you have your monotonous day and then you turn on the radio. It's like that's what you hope for is like someone upbeat,
100%.
someone who like wants to like, you know, energize you a little bit. And I feel like you can tell that whenever you like look at your social media.
Thank you.
Were
And that's what I'm trying to go for
Were
here.
you like this all the time, though?
All the time.
Yeah?
There was never a time where I wasn't like this. And when my husband and I met, I specifically like did everything but make him sign a waiver for it. Because I was just, because he is not that guy. He's kind of the jokester. Like he likes to like kind of be the butt, not the butt of the joke, more like the one jerking someone around. Likes to drink some beers. He's like the ultimate yinzer. Like no one gets more yinzer than him. But whenever we met, we were total opposites that way. I was just kind of like, you're on this crazy train. Also, whenever I met him, I was not in radio. It was when I was at that marketing firm.
Oh, wow.
So he had no idea. Like this was totally blindsided. But when this is me all the time to a fault.
Yeah.
Because there is no turning it on or turning it off.
Yeah.
Like I just came from being on air. I drove from my guest room, got in my car, came 15 minutes later, I was here. it's when it is all you all the time, people are always like, I get asked all the time, like, do you ever turn it off? And I'm like, well, that's the thing. When you're just being authentic to yourself, you don't turn it off.
I feel like, like I thought about this, like whenever I wanted to restart this up, like how did I want it to be? Like what kind of show I wanted it to be.
Sure.
And like, I feel like I could have, went a different way with it, but in the end, I don't want to like have to like work harder than I do. So it's like,
No.
I want to be authentic on here because it's like people that I know listen to this. I can't just lie about shit or like fabricate like life or anything like that. And because it's just like feels like more work you have to do. And I mean, yeah, you have to be authentic.
Oh, and it's just like, we have so many jobs already.
Yeah.
Like I can't be a mom, a wife, radio Kelly, regular Kelly, like that, friend, daughter, can't do all that. That's also like why I stick with my real name.
Yeah.
Like
what's up with that?
There's
Radio people that have like, it's
very old school.
Flippers. Yeah. That's what it reminds me of.
It is. It's very old school. The people who still have radio names.
Is there people that still have them?
Our morning show host goes by Bubba.
Oh yeah, I
and
guess
his name's Mark.
He's the reason that I even, John, like B94 back
John
then,
D. Bub and Shelley.
was like the reason that I started to like really love, like talk radio and stuff like that. I remember listening to that
legendary. I listened to it too
all the time, and like I came up on that, and that's what made me wanted to like start interviewing people. My first interview I ever did was I interviewed a pizza maker for 5th grade. Veltry's
awesome.
Pizza in White Oak, and I interviewed this person, and I just loved it ever since then. I've always been like inquisitive. I've always just been interested because we're stuck in this like 9 to 5 every day. Everyone does what they do. You do radio, I do what I do, and it's like we don't get to learn about other stuff. So that's why I do the podcast
or other people.
Yeah, so like if I want to learn about funeral directors or like bakers, chefs, anything like that, it's cool to be able to pull people in here and like kind of just hear the journey of their life and how they kind of like
story.
fit into things. It's interesting for you to be in like radio because I know that it has to be like, it's a production every day, and the whole shift of the world this past year, where you like get pulled out of, the
fun part.
Yeah, the fun part, your environment. And you were just talking about like all the boards, everything like that for production. Like, what do you guys have at home?
We have mixers that are simplified down to
Is it like a Roadcaster?
Yes, essentially.
Okay. Yeah.
And the 5 dials we had before for our audio volume, now we have 2.
Yeah.
And we have our mic and our mic stand, and then we have a piece of recording equipment on our laptop that goes into it, and then I use my personal laptop for show prep and all that kind of stuff, and that's right next to me.
Wow.
But it's a very simplified version. Now, there are people at home, our morning shows are working on a whole lot of other equipment, but like Bubba and Mel, they're 2 different people on our morning show, and what they've had to do prior to Bubba going back in the studio, it's unbelievable how you have to patch this audio in, and you want to make sure that you can hear the listener. And these jobs were not meant to do from home.
Yeah,
Podcasting
exactly.
was.
Yeah,
it was meant to take on the road, Well,
why isn't it that more, complicated for you to do in the afternoon? Is there just more shit
because there's just one person.
Oh, yeah.
When you complicate it with both.
2 people, yeah. 2 people
Exactly.
doing all that. Wow, I didn't even think about that.
It's a science that they have gotten down pat.
Now, for you to be home to do this, like what's like a run through of like your production? Like what do you do like for tomorrow? How do you prepare for, a regular day?
Well, I do a ton of show prep after my show because I find that the wheels are still moving. The minute that I close that office door, I'm like, all right, now I'm, cooking dinner for the toddler. Now I'm, asking husband how his day is, and now I'm not even thinking about it. So I kind of just start researching topics. We do a ton of pop culture stuff on my show. And by we, I mean me.
Yeah.
Only producer, only showrunner, only host. That's the only person. And just see what's going on in the world. I do a lot of inspiration coming from my everyday life. My friends are 100% the inspiration behind my show. Their marriages, their relationships with their coworkers. I just take it all. I just take all the tea happening not in my life.
Tea's the best.
We spill the damn tea every day. And to the point where I will occasionally ask my friends, I'm like, hey, I'm definitely going to use this story. Actually, it's more like, I'm going to use this story.
Yeah.
Please tell me you'll answer my text like tomorrow. And they're like, go for it. But there have been times where they've been listening and they'll text me and be like, that was cute. I wonder where you got
That's an overshare.
that. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, there's no names being used.
Yeah.
But every story's real. There's nothing fabricated. There's nothing,
So what are your expectations from a radio station standpoint? Like, what do you have to do? I mean, I know that
have to do is entertain the masses and keep your numbers up.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
That's my job. I'm blessed with management that kind of
lets you
gives me a loose leash and says, don't make us tight.
Yeah. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right?
Exactly. And I feel like, and the trust doesn't happen there overnight. I've just been there for a while and kind of proved myself.
Yeah. So do you have to do like sponsorship obligations where you have to do reads and everything like that?
No, not really. And not if it's not a brand that I'm directly working with.
Oh, so you get to choose.
Essentially, with our salespeople, with our marketing teams.
Like work with them and say who,
right.
What you're all.
And a
right
lot
to.
of the times it's so authentic that it's stuff I'm already using and doing.
Yeah.
And then I'll just be like,
it's the best.
Hey,
yeah.
I've been like your deal with Turner's.
Yeah.
Like you just love something so much.
Love
and then
it.
it's like, we should work together.
Yeah.
Like, let me do this with you. And then that's kind of the only relationships that I like to have.
Yeah,
also, because I can't lie about it.
Exactly. Like, I can't lie about things. Like, if it's shit that I'm not going to use, like, I don't want to. It feels fake.
Of course.
Because people could tell,
Yes.
And it's naive for people to think that people can't tell that you're lying to them, or you can't tell that you're not being honest and you're just fabricating shit. And it's just like annoying. I don't know. I maybe I'm too critical on it because like I'm too close to the. I'm too close to all of it, but I just feel in my I got morals. I got to stand to them.
You're damn right.
Yeah.
And my thing is especially with my Instagram audience, they trust me.
Yeah.
Like, it takes one person to screw up trust for me.
Yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
you're dead.
Yeah.
Like, I will never, the sky is not blue today.
Well,
like,
see, I like what you do with like your Amazon reviews and stuff like that because, I mean, let's be real. Everything's a dime a dozen on Amazon. So like, if you read some reviews on there, that's bullshit. Like, I want a real. I want to
see it.
Yeah, I want like a real person's take on what this is, and I appreciate that you do things like that.
Thank you.
And I think that that's valuable. I'm curious to know. Like, I assume that more your majority of the audience is a female audience.
Yes, and it's funny you say that because I just told my husband last week that the guys are coming out of the woodwork, and I'm so happy they're there.
Yeah.
The men consume social media in a very silent way.
Yeah.
And I only know that because my husband consumes it as the creep.
Yeah.
He's the guy who just watches
Yeah.
everything from afar. And I'm like, interact every once in a while. Press a like button. Like, show them that you like it.
That's exactly it.
Only as like a partial... I am not an influencer, but as a content creator of any kind, a little bit of feedback's nice.
Yeah.
Like, even a little bit of a clap emoji when you think it's cool, like that was a good break, or So men consume it so silently that yes, I am talking to the women in my DMs, but as of recent, I'm like, all right, fellas, it's about time. Like, come on, keep DMing. Like, let's keep a conversation going. Let's keep a narrative.
Yeah.
And I'm also realizing that on my show too. I feel like the guys are. I don't know where they've been. But
do you have detailed feedback? Like, do
Yes.
you have like what's a percentage of women to men?
Oh, our station is heavily women.
Is it?
Yes, but I would have to say anymore, it's like 60-40 females.
Oh, okay.
But the
That's
guys,
not bad.
not at all. But the guys come. Yeah, I don't want to say it's like in a like crazy ballpark. But
Yeah.
when the guys come, they come to. We always say read the other team's playbook.
Yeah.
Like they come to hear what the girls are saying.
Oh yeah,
like,
it's like the movie Mean Girls. That's like a cheat code of
100
everything.
exactly.
Yeah.
I play this game every day. It's called Chick Trivia.
Yeah.
And every single day it has something to do with women. And for example, tomorrow we're talking about 2 out of 3 single women want a guy who has this.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that segment will be listened to. Not one man will miss a break.
Yeah.
And they could be married. It doesn't matter because it's still reading the other team's playbook. It's like why a guy ever picked up a Cosmo magazine ever in their life. Because who doesn't want, again, cheat codes?
I mean, that's how I feel like. I feel like anything that I've ever done, like thoughtful, like being romantic, buying stuff. You know what I mean? Like I take it from like chick flicks that I've watched.
Hell yeah!
And like it's like how don't you understand. Like I have some friends that are just like oblivious.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Just like don't go out of their way to do anything. But like, I mean, I pat myself on the back because it's like I listen to small things.
Right.
Whenever she mentions like small, like for Christmas, she like had this little tester that she got of like some perfume, and she like just said it randomly.
Chad.
Yeah, and I just like, it's right in your head, and then it's like
goes in the notepad.
Yeah, it's just right there, and it went right in my notepad because it was some crazy name, and I was like, I'll never remember that. But she was like, oh, I can't believe that like you remember that thing. But it's like small things.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
she will never forget it.
Yeah, never.
So you
forget
better be ready for Valentine's Day, buddy.
Yeah, so like I constantly have to set the bar higher for myself, so it just makes me try to be more and more creative.
Right, and
It's
I feel like
difficult,
all
though.
men appreciate the help, and I think as women we were always very willing to give guidance.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's understandable whenever. I mean, it's better for whenever people are more willing to take the guidance. Like, I think your husband is hilarious. Like, I think that he got to be a great sport.
Thank God.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I see him just what I see on Instagram, but he just seems like such a fun, swell guy.
He is.
You
He
know,
is. And
you'll
like
catch him singing, and like that's the way I am.
All
It's
the
like,
time.
It's all the time. And does he watch The Bachelor and stuff with you?
So I want the first episode. I was like, I really want to get into this. I've never watched it. My audience is there. I have to be there with them.
What do you mean you never watched it?
I've never watched a Bachelor.
From when? When was the first one? This season?
Well, no, I lie. I listened to everyone's advice and I tried to get into Pilot Pete's season last season, and I hated him from the beginning. and I said,
Pete.
I will check back with this.
Yeah.
The third episode from the end.
So you weren't into it like back
Never.
in the, wow.
Never.
Are you not like are you like a reality TV person?
I'm not 100%. I like
Wow.
I like dramas, cliffhangers, crime stuff. I need like a serious cliffhanger
Are you like
to
Law
get
and
me
Order?
into it. No.
Okay, me either.
I'm very much on like the Undoing. I just watched on HBO. That
I've
was
heard that was
unreal.
great,
Like
yeah.
I like things that really are going to make me
True
watch
Detective?
the next episode. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I need something to bring me back.
So I'm curious to know your thoughts on the only reason I started watching The Bachelor with her this weekend is like I forced her to watch
You owe it
fucked up
to
stuff.
her.
Fucked up stuff. We just watched a whole series, Snowfall. You ever hear that?
No.
It's about a young kid in like South Central California, and he's just like selling. First, he started selling weed, and then it just like scaled up. It's like Breaking Bad, kind of, on that level, and it's so good. But she does not care about any of it. Won't watch Breaking Bad. Doesn't really
She
care.
sits there with her eyes open for you.
Exactly. So it's like, she wants to watch The Bachelor. I'm going to get into it a little bit.
Yeah.
So like we're watching it, and it's just hilarious because we'll play this game where I'll just take photos of their faces during certain times, and there will just be like, resting bitch face, just like, staring.
So
And
salty.
we were going to start an Instagram, faces of The Bachelor, just by how like dead these eyes are of people. And we'll just sit there in tears laughing at them. But
It's amazing.
it is, but he's a good sport, and he'll watch along with you.
Yeah, well,
sometimes.
I decided that I was going to start in the season, and I told him, I was like, I can't do this without you. This
Yeah.
is 2 hours
Yeah.
every Monday. I need you in here. Like, Mark has a bullshit radar from
Yeah.
like, it's the farthest one I've ever seen where he's like, this girl sucks. I'm
Yeah.
like, she's the best. And he's like, she sucks so bad. Wait till next week.
That's
and then
how
it
I am.
always happens. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It is.
And I think it's because I'm looking at her dress, and I'm looking at like the fact that she's like a teacher, and I'm like, you're so pretty. Oh my God, you're the best. And he's like, nah, she sucks.
I feel like that they make all of them like 4 years younger than they really are.
Why are they all 23?
Yeah,
and
they're
they're all
all-
communications
Yeah.
managers.
Yeah.
Like, what is even a I've
It's
never
funny.
met a communications manager.
It's funny because it's like, it's like don't treat me like I'm dumb. You know what I mean? Like this girl.
She's 19. Get her
Yeah,
off the show.
I know it's ridiculous. It's funny though because it's like what do we have now? It's like we're stuck in the houses.
That's why we jumped in.
and it's like why not watch it? But I'm tired of watching shit.
Oh my God.
It gets
And
gets
then
old.
especially 2 hours. I'm like, let's wrap this up. And Matt James is just such a snooze fest of a bachelor. So then I'm
Yeah,
like,
he's
I
not
need-
the best.
I need you to like.
But
What's with the turtlenecks? I'm sorry.
don't
I
know.
could talk about this all day.
I watch Queen
Show us
Victoria. That's the only reason I watch. I didn't watch last night, so I don't know what's going on with it yet. But I think that she's a plant.
She is
100%.
100%.
She got to be because no one gets that. Like no one causes that much shit for no reason.
And no one is that like They made her look homely.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
she
why
got
does
bigger
everyone
bags
else have
under her eyes?
professional makeup on and Victoria doesn't? Because they want her to be the hot mess.
She is. You know, when she has, you tell she has a few drinks and like that first night she had that tiara on and she's just like a little bit tuned up and she's just like yelling at these people and I'm just like, she's going to be great.
Bring it on.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Keep giving her those roses or we're tuning out.
So it's like, what, no, I mean, obviously, you know, you're working every day. So do you get to like pre-record stuff before or are you like live
I have
on
the
there?
ability. I have the ability to pre-record, but I do not because I am
That's an option that they give you is to like pre-record a show?
Well, at home, I just simply have the equipment.
Yeah.
No one's ever said do it because
Yeah.
we really do pride ourselves on being as live as possible.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
right now, I am as live as possible. My daughter's watched every day from 10 to 3. I take every morning hour and I do all my side stuff that I do. Should prep my show and I start at 2 and every break you hear was as it happened.
Now, are you able to take like calls and stuff at home?
Yes, everything. We take calls through Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah, Zoom has a phone feature that I never knew about either, but it works perfectly.
Do you tend to like dislike? I mean, I guess you would have to have done that. You know, the whole time you've been working, you're not really having a bunch of people. Did you have guests in ever?
Yes, I had a ton of guests in. I used to have people in the studio all the time.
Really?
Now we just do it over the phone.
Yeah.
But there's just something about...
Yeah, I hate a Zoom interview.
Hate it, and
I
that's all we
can't
do.
it on here. I can't. It kills me. And I can't listen to any of them. It don't matter who it is. It's like I tried to listen to Matthew McConaughey do an interview with Joe Rogan, and it's just like you have shit cut out, and you're just like, God, I want to hear what Matthew McConaughey got to say.
Right there in real time. There's something
what a
about
great
it.
guy.
And I also think that people are a little more gracious whenever you are in a pandemic because they're like, well, we'll make sure that we're being safe. And, oh, well, she didn't have any other option. But there's just something about a vibe. There's something about someone's energy and being in the same room, meeting these people. When we would be in the studio, it would be like, oh, Stefan Tuitt's at the Fan getting interviewed. Anyone want him? And you're like, what? Like, get him in here. You know what I mean? And that magic as much like doesn't, obviously doesn't happen as much.
Now
forever.
I'm curious with any radio personality that I talk to, how do you not swear on the radio?
It's tough because I do not have a good mouth outside of.
Because the first time I had someone in here, I was like, she might not swear. And then first word she said was fuck it. I was like, maybe she does swear. And then I'm just like, how... I can't turn it off, I don't think. I tried to whenever I interviewed Rick Seaback. I didn't want to swear with him.
Right.
A couple other people on here, I'm just like, I cannot swear with these people just because I don't want to.
They're good people.
Yeah, you just don't want to drop an F-bomb real quick and you're just like, make them feel weird. You know what I mean? I interviewed a rabbi and it was great. But that was a over the phone interview, but I was like, I cannot swear. So I just kept saying it in my head.
I'm asked that all constantly.
Do you have you ever done that on air?
No, I have never once sworn on air in Pittsburgh. When I was fresh out of college, I did.
What happens?
We have a dump button.
Oh yeah. I forgot
that
about
we can press. However, at home we do not have that button.
Oh wow!
Because that's on our master board, so we don't. If it goes into the system, then it's theirs.
What if that happened?
I mean, there's an FCC license that can be taken from you immediately.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing. No one takes a license unless they're tipped.
Yeah.
So it takes the wrong person hearing it. It's a car full of kids and a mom that's pissed. So if it does happen, and I have heard it in Pittsburgh radio, and I, as a member of the Broadcasters Association, giggle to myself and just hope that everyone was cool. Everyone be cool kind of thing. But in studio, it's easy because you can just... press that dump button real quick. And the dump button is not often used for the host. It's for if you have a guest in studio that gets a little loose-lipped. Yeah,
it gets a little loose-lipped. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Now, for you to, do you ever have, problems, coming up with content?
No, all the time. And I would say I never had a problem when we were all living our lives.
Yeah.
But whenever, not so much anymore because I'm slowly trying to regain some kind of normalcy.
Yeah, I like the idea of, a trivia every day because that's something that you could do every day that it takes up a little bit of time.
Sure.
So,
and people like to talk and get involved and they want to hear the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's interesting to hear that. What else how do you try to stay, creative in that aspect?
I have to be When I started and I took the show on and I was just like dating Mark, and
Yeah.
we weren't engaged, I had so much material. Like I would beat him verbally on air. Like if we got into a fight the night before, he like knew, he'd be like, don't. And I'm like, I have to, because I'd go in like so fired up, and it was the best con. Now I go in and I'm like, don't be the old wife.
Yeah.
Don't be the mom. Like don't be what everyone probably wants you to be at 33 years old. Like I'm not ready to just like cash it in and go out to pasture. I still got a lot of shit to bitch about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm like, we got to keep it hot fire fresh. So my content really doesn't run out anymore when I
it's-
stop living life.
It's interesting to think about, like, I have all these different people in here all the time, and through the pandemic, like I try to, limit how many people we're seeing. So sometimes I'll have Antoinette on, and like we'll do episodes, and I get so much great feedback from them
Sure.
episodes. People love them. And at first I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. Like, I don't know if people want to listen to me and my wife just talk about dumb shit, but I get such good feedback just because this is what people are doing every day. It's
Sure.
like people are stuck every day together, and it's like us talking about moving. I was like, no one's going to want to fucking listen to me talk about moving. And I got people messaging me all day talking about like, yo, this is sick. Someone told me about some fucking moving straps that like saved my life. And it's just like, it's ridiculous that, like it got to feel cool to be, a radio show host and like have like an audience that like
Sure.
come back all the time, because that's the way it is. If you listen to someone in the morning, you always listen to them in the morning.
I have an extremely interactive show. I'm never not talking to someone.
Yeah.
If there's a song on, I'm on the phone with someone.
Yeah. How long do you think in that you started to establish?
In my career?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because like you had to go through like the mud. Like obviously,
hell
if
yeah.
you're brand new, people don't know who you are yet. They don't trust you yet. They don't trust your they don't trust you enough to listen for hours on end.
And definitely not my opinions.
Yeah, and like that's what blows my mind whenever I see like people listening to my shit. It's just like it's wild to think about. But like when does that like establish over the year for you?
Well, I had a host for 2.5 years that so lovingly liked to edit me out of audio.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was a tumultuous relationship to say
Yeah.
the least. So I would have to say, when the show became my own,
Yeah.
I got a lot of feedback in that we're happy that you get more time to talk.
Yeah.
And but I still do think that it takes a couple years for people to really
For sure.
sink their teeth in and then be like, I vibe with this girl. Let me tell my friend about her.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm going to follow her on social media. Now I know a lot about her.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like I'm a member of her family. Now I feel like we're girls. Now I feel like she's my wife's best friend.
That makes
I'm gonna
sense.
continue. So I feel like it's the progression as if you're dating me. It's
Yeah.
like you got to find out if you trust me a little. Then you introduce me to your family, then your friends, and then we hang out, and then we're best friends for years.
That's a good way to think
But
about it.
I was also from Pittsburgh, which is not something that a lot of people in the market are.
Yeah.
And that a lot of people in our industry get to do, which is come home and do what they do at home.
Was there like a like whenever you were looking for a job down here, was there not a lot of stuff available?
No, never.
Okay.
Oh, no. Radio jobs are like teacher jobs.
Yeah,
People
that makes sense.
get them and they stay in them. And that's why I'm glad that we brought up earlier how Bubba has his name.
Yeah.
He was on B94 and he was the stunt guy when he was like 19.
Yeah.
And so he's been in this market forever. So that's like these tenured, very long careers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
People stay here
Yeah.
because we have an audience unlike any other in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and
they
why
don't
wouldn't you want to?
any other voice. They want the voice that they heard on their way to high school. They want the voice that they heard.
100%.
There's just, and that's not like that in other markets. That's why so many others are syndicated because no one cares if,
Yeah.
you're in LA.
I hate if I like, put on a radio and it's like, oh, this is Ryan Seacrest. And I'm just
Sure.
like, dude, it doesn't feel genuine.
Sure.
Don't feel like you're talking to anyone.
and you're not telling me the accident that's on the parkway that I'm about to come up to. You know
100%.
what I mean?
You're
Like, I
bro,
need help.
I know. I want a little bit of help with
Yes.
this. It's that's an interesting point too. So whenever you're kind of figuring this out and getting like your hold, like what is what are you doing in the beginning? Because I'm sure that you're like thinking like, how am I to make this show my own?
Sure.
Like, what am I going to be able to do to like kind of establish myself? Like, I know you got to try to think creatively. It's like, what are some of the things that you did?
I stopped talking and I started listening, to be honest.
Yeah.
I shut the hell up for the first time in my life and just really went to the people who I knew were my core listeners. And I was like, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
What do you want to hear? Like, I also have a day part that is morning drive and afternoon drive kind of work together because you have to think it's a regular day. You get in your car, you go into your office and you turn on the car and whoever was on in the morning is on in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get you to stay that way. So I would have to say that there was a lot of market research done. I also am the key demo for Star for 100.7. So I am a 33-year-old who hasn't been married forever. Mark and I have only been married for 4 years.
Yeah.
And Nora's not 15. She's 2. So I'm very much doing exactly what my audience is doing.
That's a good point to think about too. It's like you guys are growing together basically.
For sure.
And it's like stuff that you're experiencing that you're like bitching about or like, talking about all the time.
No, that's all I'm doing. I'm just bitching.
Well, yeah, I bitch about it. Everyone's bitching about things, but it's like I bitch about things on here that I feel like people relate to.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Everyone's bitching about going to the grocery store, and it's relatable. And I feel like that's like bread and butter. It's like I want to hear about things that other people, simple things that other people are doing, and because that's what the funniest stuff to me is. It's like whenever I went to Lowe's the other day, I start to like recognize that there's 3 different people in Lowe's. There's the people that know exactly what they want, that are like the guys with the carpenter pencils in their ears, and they're walking over to exactly what
confident
they want.
as hell.
I need this tube of shit right here. I knew what I want. I'm getting out of here. There's the people that are pretending that they know that's going on, like me. Like we just moved into this place, so I'm like, oh, I gotta go buy hooks, I gotta go buy stain, and I'm just like reading shit.
To watch you, and your cute little wife meander through Lowe's.
I'm like reading shit. I'm like Googling it. I'm like, calling my dad. Like, what does this mean?
You don't want to sound like an asshole when the guy comes up and asks.
100%, because like the guy's like, oh, sir, what could I help you with? And I don't want to sound like an idiot.
Right.
And then you got the third person who's just the people that are tagging along. That are like, that don't,
wives.
that are just oblivious. Well, she kills it because she's up there Googling stuff, designing kitchen islands, and like she is fully, submersed in home design. Did you watch Dream Home Makeover on Netflix with the McGee?
Yeah. Oh my God, Studio McGee.
We love them.
Oh my God, their line at Target is all over my house.
I made fun of her for so long because she's like, you should watch these because we were talking about buying shit and fixing it up ourselves. She was like, you should watch these. They're young kids. They kind of got into this and built themselves up. And I was like, that's bullshit. I ain't watching that.
Not happening.
One of their parents is rich, but then I watch it. And I'm like, these people, like, that's exactly, you can't help but to love them.
Yeah.
They're both gorgeous. They got cute kids. It's
all you want, really.
Yeah, it's all you want. So it's like she is like knee deep in design. I just see her all day. Like, what about end tables? What about end tables? And it's like stuff that I could relate to, and I'm sure other people could relate to.
It's true. You have to be relatable.
If
again with the authentic self thing.
Yeah, you got to.
I acted like I had this all down pat. If I was Susie Homemaker, I so often on my show, I'm like, I can't cook spaghetti. Like I don't craft.
You're not a cooker?
Not at all. Not even a little. All these things that Mark signed up for, he had no idea. Like, I am so inadequate in so many areas of my life. I don't do crafts. Like, I am a great mom.
Yeah.
I will never sit down and draw you a picture.
Yeah.
I will never be on your PTA. Like, there's just I'm very unapologetically me, because if you aren't, again, how exhausting is that?
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Talk about the shit that you want to talk about. I want to hear all about how you and wifey went to Lowe's.
Yeah.
I do not want to hear about how you and wifey went Studio McGee and built this house from the ground up, because it's not true.
Yeah, it's not true. That's exactly it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you ever have like negative feedback that you like from any listeners? Like, do you get that?
I mean, social media opened up a whole new audience, and I feel like I kind of came into the Instagram thing, started using it more as a little bit more of like a diary of my day.
Yeah.
When the pandemic came in. So there were people who had no idea, who probably had never listened to me before.
Yeah.
Hopefully do now, and were introduced to me that way. And social media is full of trolls. We all know that.
100%.
But I will say, at the beginning there would be like moms being like, your daughter has a lollipop in her mouth, like she's she's
so
not
funny.
even 2, and I'm like, what? Like I didn't know
like,
that
shut up.
happened.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of Karens.
Yeah.
But I will say that I feel as though I give off a vibe like I'm not going to tolerate it.
Yeah.
So whenever there's probably an instant regret whenever someone sends the message.
Now, what about as far as like, have you ever had anything like with like ratings and stuff like that? Or is it always been just good?
I mean, I have been blessed that there's always been a good reception.
That's good. I mean, like, it's always interesting to me because I feel like, in here, I have like, the only way to really get feedback is from, social media interaction.
Sure.
Or, like reviews on apps. So it's like, 99% of them are positive reviews, but it's like every once in a while.
The 1% just punches you in the gut.
Every once in a while, I'm just like, someone gave me 1 star with nothing. And I was just like, what the fuck?
No.
Like, yeah, it's
Give me
just like,
some details, you pansy. Don't run around.
Give
Don't
me
run
some
away.
details of why I only got 1. Like, I'm out here working.
Sure.
And it's like, it's interesting to see how people like respond to different, to different shit like that, because we live in this world where everyone has like such an opinion now.
Oh.
Everyone's heard.
And everyone's mad.
Everyone's mad. They just want to woes
They
me.
should be. At the time, in the past couple months, people should be fired up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so I don't want to ever dim anyone's shine on that. I never want anyone to say that being passionate's a bad thing.
But a radio
Channeling.
a radio show host or a podcaster is not the target.
No.
that it needs to be
I can't
out
make the
on.
world the place that you and I want
Yeah,
to live
you know what I
in.
mean? I'm just trying to help you out.
I'm trying to laugh.
Couple
Like,
hours out of your day to take away from your
give me
your
a
day.
break.
Yeah.
I know. So
You know
much
what I
so.
mean?
And I always say, like, I used to get so butthurt.
Yeah.
Like, I used to just I would have one bad phone call in studio, it would throw me.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like,
Fuck them.
100%. And I hate to say that because every single day that I crack that mic, I think 75% of the people who are coming to me because they know that we're going to have fun today.
Yeah.
25% have no interest in what I'm saying, and they're probably like, wrap it the hell up.
Yeah.
Cal. Like, get to the baby. We
Yeah.
want more the baby. So I like to just remember that not everyone's going to like you.
Yeah.
No, it's impossible to be well-liked and well-rounded.
Yeah.
People have issues with everyone. I just want my haters to be a little more like, all right, we're going to let her do her. But if she really pisses us off, then we'll come out. Because I feel like that's kind of, again, there's a tolerable
I like
scale.
the respect. Like, I feel like you got to be able to respect the whole, like, the mentality of the fuck them, right?
Right.
You got to, because.
And you have to keep going.
Yeah, you
Because
gotta
if
keep doing
listen to
it.
them, then you wouldn't be doing here on like episode 100. You
Yeah.
would have no success if
Yeah.
you let every single person get into your head.
For sure.
And
I agree with
hate,
that.
I hate when I remember how many people are listening.
Yeah.
Like whenever I'm like, oh my God, I'm not just talking to my group of 5 girlfriends, because I feel like there's that kind of stage fright you get whenever you see your podcast downloads and you're like, whoa, did I say anything dumb? Because 600 people just listen to that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get in your head that way either.
Now, this might be a touchy thing, but how do you handle politics on, radio?
Oh, you don't.
Yeah, is it
You act
something
like
that,
it's not happening.
Yeah, okay.
That's the way I've gone, because I think that
it's an unwinnable
a
argument.
100%.
So, I mean, whether you choose, and it doesn't matter like how anyone believes in anything. Like, I'm not
Like
going to
you're wrong, no matter what. You're
yeah,
wrong.
you're wrong. So it's like, it's exhausting to even think about that. But do you ever have like, is that just like a unwritten rule over like radio shows in a whole? Just
Kinda.
like, don't talk about politics.
No, I like to say it's just simply staying in your lane.
Yeah, that's a good point.
People
yeah.
do
Stay in
not
your
come
lane.
to me
Yeah.
for that. Like they don't. In the event that they do,
Yeah.
they made a hard left wrong turn
Yeah,
somewhere, and
for
they're.
sure.
But I also think that people aren't dumb these days, and it would take no time to really.
Yeah.
For me, I don't have to say it
Yeah.
for someone to know where I am on the aisle.
Yeah.
But I don't need to say it
Yeah.
because it just doesn't matter in the things I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting in a whole.
Yeah.
All across
Because
the board.
prior to this year, let's all remember, no one cared.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
For
That's
the past
exactly it.
3-4 years, no one cared.
No one cared.
Just let's stay with that.
Yeah.
Let's stop caring.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Not about the important things, but who someone, it's just not important.
100%. Now, whenever you're going through like a regular day, going through all your topics, and I mean, what happens whenever, do you have like a brain fart ever?
Oh,
where
all the
you're just
time.
like, where you just don't remember what the hell you're going to talk about?
Yeah, for sure, all the time. But I will say I fill it with BS, and I
Yeah.
find that ends up being my best stuff.
That's good.
Because
Yeah.
I just am like, today, it happened literally today. A couple hours ago, it was like my 4:30 break, and I was like, I am brain dead. What am I going to do here? Because I was in between segments, and I was
How
like,
long's the break?
The break is like 33 seconds. It's the
okay.
intro to Post Malone.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I doing here? 33 seconds in music radio may as well be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of time for us.
Yeah.
In between songs. And I was just like, what am I going to do here? I looked out my window. I saw it was raining. And I literally was like, Post Malone on 100.7 Star. Isn't it the best when it rains because then you don't have to wash your hair? Oh my God. And I'm never getting out of these leggings. Okay. And like, I literally was just like, that's it. And I'm like, all right, well, that was unplanned, kind of random. Definitely wasn't probably what you were going to talk about. But there are 1,000 women right now who are like, yes, we love when it rains because we can just throw our hair out.
Yeah, that's true.
There's just something about the relatability. And like, I started my show today I was like, I might be a little hungover. I drank in celebration of day one of potty training being done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know where I'm at right now.
Relatable. It's relatable.
You just have to be you.
Now, I think that that's definitely interesting. Now, whenever you're doing this, and like you're trying to come up with different content, and you're trying to like have people call in and stuff like that. Do you ever have times where there's people that are like not? You don't have like an audience to like call in and like kind of keep that back and forth going.
Well, I very much read the room on that.
Yeah.
I'm very much like, okay, not every topic's going to be a total,
Yeah.
home run. So I'm a move on kind of girl.
Yeah.
And there are different styles of radio where people will position it in a different way, solicit in a different way, bring it up later. But I read vibes.
Yeah,
like,
that's
okay,
good.
well, if we just don't want to talk about that today.
Yeah.
And I will say the audience is getting so much more chatty now than they were 8-9 months ago.
It's good to I think it's also like super valuable for people to pivot to social media, because it's like
Sure.
you're building it up more, and you're building more content just through there. People are starting to get to know you more. You're able to like kind of, I don't know, expand talking about yourself, really, because
Sure.
if you're having someone that's been on the radio for 5-6 years that people just hear on the radio, that I mean, before social media, it's crazy to me to think about life before social media.
Oh, same.
Because-
Especially in our industry, because no one knew you.
It's weird, because it's like you just hear what's on there, but now that you have like the ability for me to like go on your Instagram and just like look at all your stuff, it kind of gives me, I'm able to grasp more of who you are, which allows me to
make a judgment.
Yeah,
like, do
That's-
I want
in so
to
many
invite
words,
her
yeah.
in?
Yeah, exactly.
Or do I not want to? And I think that prior to, you could listen to these old school radio DJs and be like, all right, I like his voice. Oh, great voice. And
Yeah.
then find out that he was actually like, he's a total criminal or he's like a drug addict.
Yeah,
and you're
for
like,
sure.
Jesus, that's a lot. Like, I didn't need all that info.
Yeah.
Now you can make a judgment a lot easier and a lot quicker. And
Absolutely.
I also think there's pros and cons to that, but I think that a real pro is people have you hooked because they know a lot about your life.
Absolutely.
It's not like a passing voice.
Now, what about the music you're playing? This is all chosen for you?
By research, yes.
Yeah. So like, I mean, like, but do you have like how much freedom do you have of choosing different songs? Do you have like a pool of songs that you could choose from, or do they just give you shit
Well,
preloaded?
all of our music is scheduled.
Yeah.
And because of research that we do. And I am Alysta, who is my manager,
Yeah.
but also one of my best friends. She's our music director, and I'm not her assistant by title, but I help with a lot of the music research just because I'm also very interested in it.
Are you able to get down to like what people like earlier in the morning? Like, do people like the baby way early in the morning? They want to hear Rockstar early, first thing in the morning. Like,
Yeah, well, it's funny. I have never seen research. There is research that is done through
Yeah.
our music department. Like Alyssa has 100% that. And
That's
I'm sure that
interesting.
our program director does. But I also think that we can read the room without it. Like so often I love it on our morning show. She'll schedule DJ Cool, Let Me Clear Your Throat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, like we are starting at a 12 today. Like, let's get in there. And E, again, our music director is of the opinion of like, let's start it off with a bang. Why do we want Louis Capaldi as soon as we wake up? Like, you want to just come in hot. So
That's interesting to think about too.
Yeah. So but there's so much science and research that goes behind every song.
That makes sense. What are the goals for what are the goals for you, with your job?
I would say expand my own brand.
Yeah.
Radio will always be the heart and center, like the front and center and the heart and soul of it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot still I want to do as just a me,
as a person.
As a person. I had a video series prior to COVID when we came home called Kelly Tries, where I would review different foods, and it was a blast. I want to get that back out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's different. I wouldn't say that I have anything set in stone now, but more long form media, whether it be a podcast, whether it be
why not, right?
anything else. I mean, it's where my heart and soul is. So. And I love working with different brands. I love working with brands that I love. So hopefully
it's
I can
fun.
get that opportunity.
It's real fun to do. What about what the hell was I just gonna say? I was just gonna ask you something else. Left my mind.
Red. I do it all the time.
Left my mind. So for the radio, I remember what I was gonna ask now. What about going back? Is there any sort of idea of when you're gonna be able to be back?
We keep hearing fleeting moments of summer.
Yeah.
No one's telling us.
I think it's the same stories that you're hearing at your employers, like other places too.
Sure.
People are hearing June, July, you know what I mean? So
I will run.
Yeah.
I 100% forgot to do radio.
Yeah.
I don't know how to work all those buttons anymore, but we're just hope it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
But,
are you dealing with your kid's not old enough for school, right?
No, she will be next fall.
Okay, so I mean, hopefully we can get back by then.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Imagine trying to be a teacher right now.
Not
too.
happening.
If
every teacher's not paid $1 billion at the end of this, they deserve.
I have a teacher that I went to high school with, or that he taught me in high school, and I just never paid attention to his class, but we're friends on Facebook now. And I messaged him. I was like, Mr. Gerber, I was like, I'm sorry for being an asshole in school and not paying attention, because I never gave a shit in school. I was just there serving time, just playing with my friend, chilling with my friends. And it's I asked him about I'll ask him about random shit now. And I was like, man, maybe I should get him on the podcast. And
you have to, you owe him that.
Yeah. And talk about I think it's interesting to talk about the whole aspect of people doing their jobs while they have kids and pets. And, it got to be crazy.
Oh my God. I can't. My brother and sister-in-law teach in Bethel and Baldwin.
Yeah.
And they have my 3 nieces and nephews, and they are 14, 11, and 9.
Oh.
So they're not in fake school.
Yeah,
they're not in
real school.
preschool. They're learning
But it's school that's far enough away from us that we probably don't remember how to do this shit.
No. My sister-in-law teaches childcare development. She's not into math. Thank God my brother-in-law is, but he teaches elementary, not high school. This is not easy for anyone.
Yeah.
At all.
I bet. What's it like being a mom full time at home with no breaks? Is it stressful?
I mean, yeah, it is stressful. I will say all of April and all of May, my daughter was home with us.
Yeah.
While my husband and I both worked from home. And that was as close to hell as I think that anyone could possibly get without actually going.
I bet.
And it wasn't because of her. It wasn't because of my husband.
It's just
no family dynamic is supposed to work that way.
Yeah, none. And it got to be stressful.
Now.
That's good.
In June, our sitter came back. So a couple days a week we have her. She's watched from 10 to 3. Like I said, in the morning, I can kind of get some stuff
That's
done.
good. What's your husband do?
He is in sales. He's in manufacturing,
Nice.
corporate sales.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how everyone is, me and her just been together, obviously. So it's just I could tell what it's like us being together every day, all day.
It's
and
wearing.
It doesn't matter how in love you are or anything. It's just you're together the whole time. I feel bad for her because she has been, working from home this whole time. She doesn't really get to get out of the house. And it's I get to go to my office. Thank
Rub
God.
it in.
Yeah, thank God. It's just because, but it's also like, I would love to roll out of bed and just hop on a computer and not have to, worry about doing my hair or any of this dumb shit.
Is that tough for you, Chad? No one here feels bad for you.
There's a violin. I know. It's
Right.
terrible. It's terrible.
Well, I will say, no matter if we can get through this as in our relationships,
Yeah.
with our kids,
100%.
if everyone comes out of this alive, then I
100%.
think that, like I keep saying to everyone, even on air, we are just meant to survive right now. We
Yeah.
do not have to thrive. Everyone who keeps saying, this is the most productive I've ever been, please shut the hell up. I wake up every day and I say, I have a job to do
Yeah.
and I have a kid to raise.
Let's
and if
get
at
it
the end of
done.
the day I do both, hell yeah.
Success.
Doesn't need to be good,
Wow, that's interesting. You got an interesting life. Okay, so let's get to the ending segment, and I'll
Sure.
get you back to your kid. The ending segment I do with all my guests is an ending segment called Desert Island Questions. Desert Island Questions is whenever I give each guest 3 categories to exhaust until expulsion. So I know that's a little. I almost forgot how to say that because I didn't have guests on for so long. But first category is 3 things to watch. So you get to pick 3 movies to watch.
On a desert
You
island?
get to pick 3 DVDs to take with you. Did you watch The Wilds on Prime?
No.
Oh, it's good. It's about like a group of like 10, 18 to 21-year-old girls who they're going on this like retreat and their plane crashes and they're stuck on an island. It's fucking sick. It's real good.
Sign me up.
Yeah, it's real good. But if you're on a desert island and you magically get to have 3 DVDs to watch over and over and over again, what would they be?
Now and Then, because it taught me how to be a woman.
So good.
So good.
I ain't even a woman, but I loved it. How can't
The
love it?
Sandlot, because
Yeah.
I just also think that it's just wholesome.
Absolutely.
And if I'm on a desert island, I'm taking Castaway. Because
Castaway?
I mean, come on.
That's a good one
again,
too.
you remember we were taking the other team's playbook? That's
Who
the
doesn't
cheat
love
codes.
who
Tom
doesn't love
Hanks.
Tom Hanks?
Come on.
What a great guy. Okay, so second category is 3 things. I usually ask people 3 books. Do you read a lot?
No.
Okay,
Not at all.
Now, instead of 3 books, I want to know 3 of your kids' favorite movies.
Oh,
That's what I was going to ask earlier.
okay.
Did you ever watch Coco?
No. Have you ever watched Soul?
We just watched that.
Wasn't it amazing?
Amazing. You got to watch Coco because Coco is the best Pixar movie ever created.
That's a lofty statement.
I watch it.
You believe that?
We were crying our eyes out the other day.
I love that visual.
Yeah, it was so good. It's about Day of the Dead.
Oh, well, I know. I've seen the.
It's
yeah.
amazing. It's real good. But
See,
I know that there's.
we're all about the Disney, so it would be Frozen.
Yeah.
And what was
Your daughter likes the same shit over and over and over.
over and over. That's all we do. We
that's
just
what I
watch
figured.
Frozen, Frozen 2.
Yeah.
Adventures of Anna and Elsa, which is just the 2 main characters of Frozen spun off into another show.
I thought Frozen was trash, honestly.
Wow.
I did.
Well, I'm glad you said that at the end of this interview.
I
Just
did.
kidding.
You loved it?
I won't say I loved it. Now I hate it because
Yeah.
it's all we watch. But it doesn't hold a candle to like Little Mermaid and this Beauty and the
Ain't a
Beast.
chance.
No.
I remember people were like, it's the best movie ever that they've ever came out with. I was like, you ever watch Finding Nemo?
Yeah.
Or anything like that?
You've never seen Finding Nemo.
It's
Then
like
that's
The
all that
Little
matters.
Mermaid. Come on. But my cousin has 2. My goddaughter, she's like 10 years old. So it's like for Christmas, I bought her like his Just Dance game, and it's just like he FaceTimes me, and she's just running around like a lunatic, like. And I see your kid on Instagram, and it's just like they have no energy.
constant,
It's constant energy.
Constant energy in the same shows. That's all we do.
Yeah.
If you can tolerate both, then you'll be a great parent, no matter what.
Unreal. Is it? It's difficult potty training a kid.
It's not. I've done a lot of things. Not my favorite.
Yeah, I
definitely
bet.
not.
I bet. I can't even imagine having a human being right now that I'm responsible for.
I'm not gonna lie. Every single day I wake up, I can't believe I have one too. But
It's great though.
it's the best gift I've ever been given.
Yeah,
but
you got a cute kid. You guys got a good family. We like watching you on Instagram and
thanks.
stuff like
We'll
that.
keep watching.
Absolutely. Third category: 3 things to listen to. So you get to pick 3 CDs to take with you on a desert island.
Well, they would be NSYNC
Oh,
because they
yeah.
built me. It would be the Rent soundtrack.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Because I would really want to cry myself. And it would have to be one of the nows because I feel as though they're so obnoxious that if I was to take it on a desert island, it would be a good keepsake to like say what year we were on. Like now 158.
Do you know what number that they're on right now?
No.
It got to be in triple digits, right?
For sure.
I remember like now 28 was like whenever I was like 5 maybe.
Right, but I would want to stay hip to the pop cultures.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, third to last question is a death row meal. So you're about to get put to death. You get one last meal from wherever you want, however much you want.
Wow.
Anything you want to eat.
It would probably be the first date and the anniversary roll at Little Tokyo, Mount Lebanon.
Wow, my guest last night chose Little Tokyo, Mount Lebanon.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
It's the best sushi in Pittsburgh.
Athena Saris, she from Sarah's Chocolate, she said Little Tokyo.
Oh, if I am in Athena Saris's company, then I'm good with that.
Yeah,
Yes,
like,
Little Tokyo, best sushi.
Little Tokyo is unreal.
With more wine that I could physically put into my
I
body.
know. I didn't even offer that. I had this sitting
Sorry,
here for
I've
you.
just been staring at it.
Yeah, that's all right. But Little Tokyo, that's pretty crazy. 2 days in a row.
You don't get it this weekend.
What about a dessert?
Oh my God. Chocolate covered pretzels from Saris. If
Yeah,
we're going to go
yeah,
there, let's
right.
be honest. I mean,
Look at that.
That's it. That's
We're
a death row
professionals
meal.
over here.
What a great combo.
Yeah, what a great combo. Nice callback. Okay, so the second to last category or second to last question, I usually do sponsored by Turner. Shout out to them. I usually do something called the Turner's Crate, which is where I give each person, I get each previous guest to submit a question in there. But I haven't been letting everyone choose from there because we kind of rip through them all. So I've been asking everyone, if you are getting ready for a road trip and you get to go into a gas station, pick one snack, one food item, what would it be?
This is telling, I feel like, of everyone's personality.
It is. That's why I wanted to ask everyone.
I have to say, this is like a yearbook question I would want documented. It would be Smart Food white cheddar popcorn.
That's been on here too. Someone's picked that too. I can't remember who picked that, but they picked Smart
I like
cheddar popcorn.
foods that I can binge eat like at an obnoxious amount and not feel terrible about.
Yeah, not feel guilty.
Right.
Someone picked peach rings a couple weeks ago.
Bomb.
And it's
you have
just
to be
like,
a little bit drunk, a little tuned up. To
like
eat that many.
they're so good, but it's like if I eat a whole one of them, a whole packs of those right now, I'll just feel like garbage.
Yeah, we don't have the metabolisms we once did.
never was blessed with it. But okay, so the last question that I ask everyone is, if you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama.
Because after hearing about how she did not want Barack to run.
Yeah.
And she was kind of like, this is going to like change our whole life. And he's like, nah, dog, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And she did it with grace and class. I think that not even politically, I think she gave a lot of her life, pretty much her whole life away.
Hell yeah.
For that, but did it in a way where she was like, if he's going to do this, then I have to be the best version of myself and I'm going to be the best partner and the best everything.
Oh, that's Antoinette cooking right now with the fire.
Yes!
With the fire
I
alarm.
knew we had something in common.
That's the best, right? You can't ask for a better,
You cannot.
authentic podcast.
Listen, fire.
That's all right, babe. You're good. It makes for good content. I think that Michelle Obama is a good answer for sure, just because that's a perfect explanation. It's like people think about Barack, people think about him like becoming a president. Obviously, that's something that he wanted to do,
right.
But it's like probably not something that she ever expected.
No, and she had 2 young girls.
Yeah,
she was like, "No, we have
that's a
other
good
things
answer.
to do."
That's a real good answer. Wow, it's a good
There you
podcast.
go.
That's a good podcast.
That is.
Take a second, give anyone where everyone could reach you, Instagram, if you have a
Instagram,
website.
Facebook, Twitter, @KelOnAir, and you can listen live at starpittsburgh.com. Please do that.
Perfect. I mean, you can't ask for a better podcast than that. It's authentic.
I mean, look at that. We are
it's
real
fun.
time,
It's
baby.
fun professionals. That's all you could ask for.
That's all we are.
Everyone else that's listening, please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Turner's has a collaboration with Oakmont Bakery.
Yo,
I was about to say Oakmont Dairy, but Turner Dairy. But Oakmont Bakery and Turner Dairy Farms came out with the Oakmonter flavored limited edition milk. It's out right now. It's fantastic. Go out and grab some. Appreciate everyone listening. Call you right back.